I am live here en route in Philadelphia, here for a couple days of visit the 2X office. And I thought I would cover a topic that was really important. Actually, I saw a fantastic social post by Gunnar Bolt, if you don't follow him. He talks about his 2025 and unfortunately the missing of goals that he had, and it wasn't his year. And he talks about what he learned from it. So that was kind of inspiration for this is around setbacks and how I've handled them. So I'm going to give kind of the situation. I've had two major setbacks in the last 10 years from a business perspective. So for the last 16 years, I've been a CEO of three different professional services firms. And service firm number one, that's Sales for Life, I would say the setback was riding high on the hog. This is a business printing millions of dollars. I remember at one time I'd log into the TD Bank, we'd have $1 million sitting in cash in the business, all things going great. What that had us do is take our eyes off financial rigor, financial best practices, financial operations. About a year or so later, as sales started to slow, we had a terrible cash flow cycle, but we always made up for it by outselling our problem. And so we had major accounts receivables issues because all of our customers were major global enterprise companies that we allowed to pay on deferred payment. And so, how would we solve these cash flow crunches? We would just outsell it. Well, by the end of 2017, I woke up one day and not only was the $1 million gone, but we were another $1 million in the hole. And that was because if you miss a month of sales in your non-recurring revenue and you have a payroll that's three or $400,000 a month, it doesn't take very long to chew through a negative cash flow cycle. So that was setback number one. Setback number two, we recorrected the business, got it profitable, started, spitting off dividends that was great for the family. And then started agency number two, Pipeline Signals. And Pipeline Signals got off to a rocket of a start. It was the pioneer of the concept of this idea of signals. So think of multiple triggers and signals. There was a category just before AI became kind of prevalent, and that category was tracking migration or job changes. Again, this is before AI, and there was only one company, User Gems, in the market that came about 6 months or two, multiple deals every week. It was quite easy to replicate. Oops, hopefully I haven't lost connection. It was easy to replicate. And as it was easy to replicate, millions of companies with greater tech enablement came in and gobbled up that space. And we were kind of a mechanical Turk. We were blending both human back end and technology to solve this problem. And it became very clear that this was going to become a race to the bottom. So we had not yet had any cash flow issues, but you could see the writing on the wall. The problem was it was going to be a race to zero. Everybody was going to drop their prices, and it was just going to be a slog. And so that was setback number two. So I gave you the situation. So I want to be able to, I've documented here the three things that helped me get out of these major situations. Number one is seeking mentorship or a community to have this idea of a voice with you. There's this concept called reading the label from inside the bottle. I'll go back to my Sales for Life story. My Sales for Life story, it was very clear that I needed to change things up from an internal partnership perspective. Myself, I was in sales. All I ever did was chase sales. My business partner was supposed to be manning operations and finance. Clearly, we were missing something. And through mentorship, they helped me recognize that perhaps things needed to change. But because I was in the bottle, I couldn't see it. So I actually sought mentorship. A guy named Matt Shares, who was the current at that time CEO of Sales Benchmark Index, came in every month. We did mentorship calls. He helped me recorrect operational margins, best practices. What he really taught me was decision making and critical thinking. So now all of a sudden, I was able to back up and see things from a multitude of angles or optionality, I didn't see all the optionality that I potentially had. So that's number one thing that I would do. If you have a setback, is to seek advice. Be You don't have to be social media public, but be public with other founders and others around you. Say, hey, raise your hand. I've got a problem. Help me. What have you done? And if you've ever been part of something, they just so they teach their students. So that is number one. Hopefully, it just says I've lost connection. Hopefully, here. That was number one. Number two is going to be a lot of times you'll focus on the goal missed. So the opportunity cost, I didn't make the revenue number. I didn't make my hiring targets. I didn't raise the capital I wanted, all these particular challenges. Instead of focusing on the goal, back up and focus on part A and part B, which is habits and systems. Habits. Now, all of a sudden, you ask yourself, what am I doing today, or what have I not been doing that are hindering my ability to make progress against these goals? I'll give you a real personal one. As an example, a couple of years ago, I stopped cold turkey drinking, just gave it up. Why? Because it wasn't allowing me to wake up every morning at 5 a.m. and exercise and have a clear mind and to be able to think strategically. And so, as a habit, I eliminated it. As a habit, I have a habit of burning 1,000 calories a day in athletics. I swim every day. I walk every day. I lift weights. I ski like 100 ski days a year. All of these things that I do keep the mind sharp. I build those particular habits, or I remove something, a habit that needs to be removed. Now, all of a sudden, what you're doing is you're highly influencing the things that will lead to better decision making, better opportunity, because you put yourself in these positions. That then leads to systems. Systems are now what you're going to do is look at what in the organization, people, process, and technology need to change. I'll give the example now. Let's go back to my Sales for Life story. Financial operations. We did not have up to date profit and loss statements and budget reconciliation. And so we allowed ourselves to come up with all kinds of stories why we were overspending in certain departments, why the ratios in certain spends, such as service delivery or cost to customer acquisition, was allowed to be bloated. We made excuses like we'll make up for it next month in sales. Again, that was just chasing more dollars, but we weren't looking at how we were going to become more profitable. We didn't build in the systems to red flag these things instantaneously and to make objective decisions to say, well, we need to cut expenses in sales and marketing. We need to cut expenses in service delivery or operations. So you need to back up with these systems and say, okay, I've got to build in a machine that will give me leading indicators, not lagging indicators, that will prevent this from happening where I missed the goal at the end of the end of the walk by a few miles. Well, I could have prevented that if I had the systems in place to warn me I needed to speed up at certain mile markers. I needed to drink more water on the hike and so forth. So I hope you found this valuable. So setbacks, three things to focus in on. Number one is going to be seeking mentorship or a community to voice your ideas and opinions with, and to help them help you read the be able to read the label from inside the to stop reading the label from inside the bottle. Number two is look at your habits. What can you add? What can you remove? It will highly influence your ability to get better places. And number three, be really honest about your systems. And there's a reason why it's called people, then process, then technology. It's typically the first thing that has to change is people. People, the who leads to the how, which is the process changes and then the technology or the platform changes at the end. I hope you found this valuable. Thanks a lot.